India Charts publishes Nifty Daily, daily video updates, the weekly Elliott Wave Outlook, and the Long Shot Report covering all asset classes.
Hi everyone, this is Rohit Srivastav recording for the 25th of January 2021. That puts us exactly 1 week ahead of budget 2021, 1st of February. And what is the market doing? It's doing what it has done many times in the last year. Except the narrative is changing slightly based on whatever I hear from responses, which is that every time markets dipped in the early stages of this rally, people kept talking about going back to 6,000. Then it became a revisit of 7,000. And more often than not now, after we've crossed the 12,000 mark, people keep talking about going back to at least 10,000. And that's the reaction we are getting even now in this most recent correction, which you're looking at here as barely not even a 10% correction. It's like 2, 3, 4% down, then bounces off to a new high, falls for 3 days, and people are again looking for 10,000. The big question is, are we really going there right away? So the first thing I like to do is draw a channel right through the entire structure. Okay, so that gives us some kind of downside upside range, and you can see that we've pretty much followed that from the month of June onwards. In fact, this is the high that was made in. So we're looking at the chart for this entire time period from 2018, and one of the initial debates was about marking this entire structure as wave B. In the mind of some people that probably still continues, and a few are still asking me that question, isn't this a B wave? Now if it was a B wave, there's always a cutoff point to which it can remain a B wave, and usually very short to medium term, I would like to rule that out once it has gone beyond, say, the 138% retracement mark, because that's typically where counter trend moves end. On very long term charts, sometimes that can also escalate up to 161%. So we are past 138%, which was closer to 14,400, but we are still not past 161% of this entire fall. Okay, so now these are of course approximations. If I put the numbers exactly here, it may be there may be a slight variation. But the idea here is that fine, it may or may not be a B wave, but a B wave is a corrective structure, and the second rule out point is that this entire advance to be a B wave should be 3 waves and not 5 waves. And so that's where the discussion changes. My sense is that it is not a corrective rise. It was 3 waves only up to what we did in August, when we were still not at the all-time high, so we were slightly below the 2020 high at this point of time, and we completed 3 waves. And if we draw a trend line or a trend channel for this entire period where 3 waves completed, we've continued to higher highs from there on along the channel line. In fact, we have touch points at the bottom and almost at the top end. If we make one more attempt to actually touch the top end, then we would end up being closer to 15,100. And the real question is, if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, then is wave 5 really over? Now we can be very close to this endpoint. It can be argued in some ways that you've actually done this. So I've seen a couple of posts anticipating that this may already be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, in which case why aren't we already done with the 5th wave? Now the thing with this entire move is that we've got many subdivisions, and when you have many subdivisions just like you had here in the 3rd wave, you could have called this top really early even when this trend line broke, but it was apt to really wait and hold on till all the legs are really done, and it's confirmed by a broader break, completion at various degrees of time, certain momentum cycles and some amount of sentiment. And if you still can't figure that, then probably better to wait for a 5 wave decline to confirm that the trend is changing, because eventually after a 5 wave decline you get wave B bouncing back, a good retracement that gives you a better entry point if especially you are considering the short side of the trade. Otherwise it can get quite difficult. But The other mistake that we can make is we can sometimes end up looking at sharp declines as 5-wave declines and then only expect a retracement. That mistake could have happened at this point as well when you got the 6% one-day intraday beating up of the market. And most recently, this last 3-day fall actually looks like 3 waves. So you can actually 5 waves, I'm sorry. So you can actually end up thinking these 3 days down as a 5-wave decline, and whatever you get after that is going to be a bounce to a lower high. But sometimes you can end up making that view and the markets just end up surprising you, because wave C of an ABC correction also sometimes ends up being 5 waves and marks the end of a corrective phase, which means this first sell-off that we saw to 14,222 followed by this bounce to a new high, and then a retest of this today at 14,218, actually just 2 points lower than what it did last time, but closed slightly higher than the last closing that we made around the 18th of January. So by doing so, we actually have in fact it's lower, sorry, not higher. It's closed at 238 and that day it closed at 281. So closing today lower, but 2 points is probably pretty small. So I would say this is a sort of double bottom ABC pattern if wave C ends up being 5 waves down. And then you could actually consider whether something is complete, or are we still going to keep subdividing this wave into further legs. So this is one part of the debate. Okay, so is this 3 and 4? And I actually sense that the alternate count to this is that the third wave might still simply be going on. It might not even be over. And the other one, and this one gets more technical, so while it's easy to simply mark 1, 2, 3, 4, is there's something known as the guideline of alternation in Elliott wave analysis. So when we're actually looking at the second wave and we're looking at the fourth wave, which we marked here, both of them seem to have almost the same kind of structure. And because they have the same kind of structure, it's possible that this is not wave 1, 2, 3, 4, but this is just a series of initial first waves. Now this is a much more crazier view to have, because if you say something like this, it means you're not expecting this bull market to end anytime soon, which it has been one of my views, especially from the dollar view. So I'll come to another chart which I shared some time back later. And so if you're going into such a multi-year move, then yeah, why can't it be this? But you don't want to start with this primary view because it's too aggressive and doesn't allow you to look at the conservative idea that once you complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you can actually get a good correction or a retracement. And that's something people have been dying to wait for. So even those who've given up on the bear side of the trade as saying bullish are waiting for at least, well, let's complete 5 and let's get this big deep retracement. And I was on CNBC exactly a week back. That interview is there on Twitter if you haven't seen it. And last Friday, so in fact this Friday, and no, not Friday, because I usually do Friday, but I think we did the 11:30 show probably on Wednesday. And the data point in discussion was from a report that had been published by CLSA, saying that many sentiment indicators had reached an extreme, and this is a good time to really get a market correction. Now, while a good time means the seasonal period around the budget, Jan, Feb, March, and history shows many times markets do peak here, something that I've also discussed and written about in the long short report. But what I argued back is that whatever we do complete here, don't expect this type of a crazy pullback. And the reason is that there's a lot of rotation in the market. You've seen different sectors bottom out at different points of time, which means stocks that are, say, in the public sector space. Okay, so this is one chart I'm looking at. Actually ended up bottoming only in October. So you saw Coal India making its 52-week low or multi-year low at that point of time and then bouncing back from there. So PSU stocks in general is not the only one. There are many others. Only started to rally from October. So if I look at the PSU index, it gives me a similar picture. You had a triangular pattern here, which is a fourth wave, while the fifth wave in the PSU index itself, which is the PSE Nifty PSE index that I'm talking about, did not make a lower low than that in March. Many stocks did. And so I would consider this being the final low for the public sector stocks, from where you're actually starting to move impulsively. So you actually got a bottom in this one segment only just now. Similarly, if you move on to, say, bank stocks, if you go back 6 months, the sheer sentiment in banking was very, very negative. And the reason the sentiment in banking was negative, that we were thinking, well, all these COVID losses, how they're going to take it? The moratorium debate was going on with the Supreme Court pushing it forward. And so banking stocks were just not taking off. Now again here, the actual low point that I mark for banking, similar to what we did in the PSU index, is that this triangular pattern was fourth, and the fifth wave actually ends sometime in May. So even though the Nifty bottomed out in the month of March, the Bank Nifty only bottoms out in May, the PSU index bottoms out only in October, and so on and so forth. And so big moves have only followed at a much later stage, as you can see here, for Bank Nifty only picking up after September in a big way. Till then, negative sentiment still remained, even though it had made a higher bottom at that point of time. And so this rotation is doing one thing, that you keep finding different spots of value in the market from where the markets tend to advance ahead. In fact, Reliance Industries is another such stock. One of the biggest contributors to the early move in the index has actually been a non-performer for this entire time period of the last couple of months, where we've been going on in the current rally, which means the rally started in September. The stock was already down in September, but it's really not picked up. So the point of what happens in rotation is that spaces that are underperforming start to outperform, spaces that are outperforming start to perform. And when these cycles happen, and because these cycles happen, the index keeps getting support at a higher and higher level, and subsequent corrections don't end up being very, very deep, even though we may hope that you get deep corrections, right? So we've not had deep corrections, and that's the reason why I would not draw such a deep pullback. I think what will most likely follow is something very, very similar to what you've already seen, say, in the month of May, or what you've seen in the month of September. Those type of corrections are normal whenever you complete 5 waves here, which, like I'm saying, is still not very clear whether that's the case, because I have two alternates running on whether it's complete or not. I think the most important leg, there are two possibilities I would look at, is whether this is completing 5 waves or not, one, and second, whether this is completing 5 waves or not. So this is the part to consider. And once you complete 5 wave at that structure, well, you get a pullback which is similar to the ones that you had previously. Now, whether this is 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 1, 2, we can always figure that out later. But one thing is that rotation will ensure that if the corrections are not deep and they're just similar to this, and then the market continues to higher highs, then eventually you're going to end up marking this as 1, 2, 1, 2. And if not 1, 2, 1, 2, you'll probably mark this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start marking the impulse waves after that on top, saying that this is the first wave of something new and second wave of something new, and not the fifth wave coming to an end, because the corrections are small and you're still making higher highs. So you'll move from what is known as a 5 wave advance to an extended wave, typically ends up at 9 waves or 13 waves and so on. And so when you start getting extensions, then you simply have to keep adding the number of waves to the entire structure. So we have to be open to the idea that waves can extend. It doesn't necessarily mean that you get, deep down corrections just because it happened one time in the past, which is when you started the bull market in 2003. So I'm really taking you back in terms of the chart. You got the first wave here and second wave here. This appears pretty shallow, and this is where people also got confused in early part of the rally, that how can you have a second wave which is so shallow? And that's when you got the correction in May and in September, they felt that, it's supposed to be a 50-60% retracement because the market's gone too far. But one of the ways that second waves are shallow is of itself a sign of strength of what is going to come ahead, which means this second wave is part of a larger degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse. And only when you complete the larger degree 5 waves, which is what we ended up doing here, is when you got the larger retracement, because this then was, the larger first wave, and this was the larger second wave. So when you got a larger first wave and a larger second wave is when you got the huge 60% retracement. But to get this kind of a pullback, there's also got to be some event, some news, something has to go right or wrong. I mean, one thing is you can say market's gone too far. That's a fair argument. But when the market's gone too far and you have rotation, which means not all sectors have moved up, there's always something else that can buck the trend, then you end up getting support. Second is the event that was there in 2004 was the election itself. The BJP had, stepped off after the no confidence vote and decided that they wanted to go back to the public and get a vote. And when they did that, unfortunately, they ended up losing the election, and the Congress came in with the left government, and the market panicked, thinking, well, you have the left in, will you really be able to get any reforms through, which caused the last 2 days of this big sell-off to a 61% retracement and hitting 2 circuits on the downside. In fact, on the Sensex, it's an exact 61%. Here you can actually see a slight spike below it because this is the Nifty chart, but in the Sensex that was not the case. So what we're really saying here is that you can get this after you can surely say 5 waves are done. But even here, this did not end in an exact 5. You got extensions, and that's what I wanted to really even add. So the third wave here itself was an extended move, which further subdivided into 5 waves, and then you got the final 5th wave before you got the huge retracement. And so you had to complete the entire move that remained inside this channel. Until you really don't break down impulsively or break the channels, you don't know whether something is complete or it's going to extend. So will you get the same kind of move just because you completed 5 waves at this point of time is something I don't want to prejudge. And given the rotation and liquidity factor and a lot of reforms and other measures that are just continuously being thrown at the market, I'd rather think of the potential for extensions adding up. And that too we should be able to judge based on sentiment indicators. And right now, apart from a few readings, like some people may say breadth or participation, breadth is been strong, so you can say that has reached an extreme. But some other ratios like the put call ratio has actually been declining throughout this last part of the rally. So when it initially looks like a negative divergence that should have brought the market down, the PCR comes down so much that now it's almost looking like it's at the bottom end of the range where markets bottom out. So you have a couple of indicators that start looking oversold, and then you wonder, can you really fall from here? Is this really the start of a big decline, or is this simply a consolidation that is going to result in a further advance higher? My sense at the end of today, 2-3 days of panic selling, and we even closed below the 20-day average today, which typically would make me fearful. When I look at sentiment, it tells me it's probably like what we've seen many times before throughout this rally, whether it was in the panic in December or whether it was the sell-off that we got in October. Each of those times, sentiment turned to an extreme, and similar type of sentiment extremes can be seen in the very short term. And unless you're seriously into a bear market, these sentiment readings will not fail us, and therefore I would think that the market has room to extend higher, and which means you might actually be at the start of what will be a budget rally. So we almost looked like it was starting that last week, and then suddenly gave up from Thursday onwards, and you had 3 down days. But once again, Thursday, Friday, Monday down days, and we are again back to where we were 4 days ago, which is 14,220, and the setup is again to attempt what should look like a budget rally is what I understand. Will it peak on that day? Will it continue days after that? Completely depends on what type of announcements are there. But plus or minus, or sometime after, we always sense that there's this historical seasonality that we've seen so many tops or bottoms somewhere close to this time period, that the fear is going to remain for a while, I guess, about the potential of completing something eventually and pulling back. I'm just sensing that day might not be right now. It may be a little into the future, even though a year back I had similar ideas, which is back here, and the budget ended up being a negative event. So we had this correction ahead of the budget. This is 2020, where I'm drawing the ellipse, and initially the market sold off around the 20th of Jan for 3-4 days. It stopped falling, and then it didn't really bounce back, and then sold off into the budget because whatever they announced was not taken too well by the market, or maybe it was already anticipating what might happen because of the COVID crisis, because China was already in trouble. But of course, most markets like the US market was still making new highs all the way up to this point in February. But we made a lower high, so that was the divergence from where we then sold off. But this is not COVID. We are past that phase. We are past the vaccine phase. So we don't have any of those events ahead. The only fear factor is that, we've run up too far, and there's a lot more that needs to be really done to get the economy moving. That is a real fact. What we are really getting so far has been the base effects and the V-shaped rebound because of things starting to open up, pent up demand from savings and so on. But what you really want is how do you get back onto that high growth path, 8, 9, 10% growth that we used to do before. And if you're really planning to get there, then what do you really do? And one of the things that I've thought for very long, it's basically the government knows what to do. They need financing, and for that financing, they either need lower interest rates, which should have happened with bond yields coming down. Well, they've come down. They're not able to come down further because inflation data has not changed. So till that happens, the government doesn't get support on further funding from interest rates. The second most important is what they actually announced in May. One of the second big reforms that they announced then, apart from the farm sector related reform, which is still being fought in Delhi, is divesting strategic public sector units. Now, again there I wonder, while it sounds great, and if you really list out these are the strategic PSUs, these are the non-strategic PSUs, and go right out to sell them, if you outright make a list and put it out there, will you end up getting mass public sector protests, which is another weird thing that can happen if all the unions come together to simply make noise, and that can put the government in a tight spot in the short term. So the way they have to handle it is very, very differently, like maybe doing one at a time, but then they need to speed it up, and that seems to still be missing. So you need that funding to come in so that they can provide the spending needed to get the growth rates back up at that pace that you really want it to be. Other than that, the other way around it is simply keep reforming, make it easier to do business, and hope that the free market economy really takes care of itself. But that's exactly what we were doing with the farm sector, and we know how that's going. At least for the time being, it's stuck up in a lot of debate. So that's where we are ahead of the budget. Short-term technical readings say we are getting oversold and should bounce back. Whether the bounce will be significant or small is something we'll figure out in the next 3 days, because you're just 3 trading days left before the budget. And what you actually end up hearing in the announcements will finally determine what it does from there. But at some point of time, we'll complete 5 waves at some degree, and that should give us a pullback, but not a very big one.